Imagine going to your favorite coffee shop and ordering your usual. Then they bring you a latte and your usual is an espresso. How would you feel? You'd probably ask yourself, don't these people know me? Tailoring your message to fit your audience is where the art of communication or the art of public speaking truly shines. It's like being a chef. You can't serve a steak to a vegetarian. So how can you tailor your message in a way that will ensure that the audience resonates well with what you've said? I'll give you 7 tips which will help you tailor your message like a pro. We'll start off with knowing your audience, then move on to speaking their language. We shall have matching your energy to theirs, then adjusting your content to their needs, how to use stories that resonate, how to adapt to cultural differences, and finally, test and refine your message. Starting off, we have knowing your audience. To be sincere, nobody wants to be rambling when everyone else is looking at their phone. You want to be able to communicate with them. So how do you ensure that you've known your audience? Research. Research everything you can about them, their demographics, infographics, their pain points, frustrations, hopes, desires, everything. Are you talking to creatives, people who would like you to paint a picture pointing out to the future? Or are you talking to engineers, people who would like you to talk about logic and data? Make sure that you understand what your audience needs to hear and give them that. Research everything and then tailor your message based on your findings. Second, speak their language. Yo puedo enseñar algo muy importante, pero si tú no entiendes. Now, before I lose you, I've just said I can teach something very important, but if you don't understand, then I will be going nowhere. That's exactly what happens when you're speaking Spanish to someone who only understands English, and that's to say metaphorically. Are they executives? Use words like return on investment, scalability, competitive advantage. Focus on being result-oriented and big picture thinking. Or are you talking to tech people? Focus on the data, the acronyms they use, technical details. They will appreciate your precision. And avoid using jargon unless you are sure that your audience understands it. Nothing beats engagement faster than confusion. Then we have adjusting your content to their needs. The message, the tone, the vocabulary you use should resonate well with your audience. Also remember that one size does not fit all. Whenever you are crafting your speeches, enter into the shoes of your audience and ask yourself, what's in it for me? Ask yourself, why shouldn't my audience care about what I'm about to tell them? For instance, you are talking to sales teams. They would care to hear about things that will boost their commissions and drive or close more deals. If you are talking to HR teams, tell them this approach will help decrease the turnover rates and increase employee satisfaction. If you are talking to marketers, tell them this tactic will help you increase your click-through rates and increase your leads. When they can relate to what you are saying, they will be interested in listening to you and learning more from you. Whenever you use stories that relate to the fields of your audience. For instance, you are talking to healthcare practitioners, tell them about ways to improve patient outcomes. If you are talking to entrepreneurs, tell them stories about startups which scaled up successfully. Fourth, match your delivery to their energy. I believe you can't show up to a rock concert in a Texundo, can you? Whenever you deliver your message, make sure that your energy matches the energy of the room. If you're speaking to high energy people, for instance, sales team, use bold gestures, fast-paced, use dynamic movements. If you are talking to low energy people, for instance, academics, and no offense to anyone here, but tone it down. Use deliberate gestures. Speak softly. Give them some time to resonate to what you've just spoken. And if you are talking to mixed level energy, vary your tone. Use gestures interchangeably. Moderate your pace accordingly, and they will appreciate that. Fifth, use stories that resonate. Stories are the universal language for connection, but not all stories connect to all audiences. Do you remember how I've told you to say things that concern their fields? If you're talking to health practitioners, stories about health and patients and things that happen there. In the same way, make sure that your story resonates well with the people you are talking to. If you are talking to parents, tell them a story that will help them balance their work and family life. If you are talking to students, help them understand how they can overcome challenges through your stories. If you are talking to entrepreneurs, talk to them about taking risks and reaping profits in your stories. Now, it's important to note that you don't just tell a plain story, and I shall be talking about storytelling in full details, but just to hint on something, use sensory details to tell your story so that people can feel it, not just hear it. You should tell a story in a way that the audience will see the story. For instance, instead of just telling them, 5 years ago I started a business, tell them, I remember 5 years ago sitting down on my cold coffee table at 2 a.m. surrounded by coffee cups and scribbled notes, wondering if I was crazy to start this business. When I tell you that, and when I tell you I started a business, the second approach, you can imagine seeing me seated on my coffee table at 2 a.m. trying to scribble notes, right? Sixth, adapt to cultural differences. What works in New York might not work in Tokyo, and these can even be literally. There are some high context cultures and low context cultures. Whenever you are confronting people from different cultures, research, know what works for them. You can even do this with a local or somebody who represents the target group of your audience. If you're talking to high context people, learn on building relationships and being indirect as you speak. And if you are talking to low context cultures, then be direct and straight to the point. Finally, test and refine. Even the best tailored message can miss its mark. Make sure you test to fine-tune what doesn't sound good. And by testing and fine-tuning, I mean you should rehearse your speech out loud. As you say some things, you hear that maybe that doesn't sound so well, or that won't resonate with this audience from this place and this culture. I should fine-tune that. And always consult someone. You can use polls and surveys online to know if something that you have in mind works for a certain audience or it won't work. And after you do that, fine tune it until you find something that works. So remember, know your audience, speak their language, match your delivery to their energy, adjust your content to their needs, use stories that resonate, adapt to cultural differences, and finally, test and refine your message. Thank you.